Bagman here with Soletron.com. We're here with the legend, Paul Van Dyke. So, how's everything going, man?
Very good.
How's this Ultra comparing to former years?
Well, the thing is, I just arrived and basically came straight here, but it looks phenomenal, so that's good.
What do you think of the lineup?
Well, it kind of like, you know, it's a bit like a big music convention. You can go and you see all those different elements that electronic music has to offer. You, as a customer, can check out everything that you like. So somehow, over the period of, you know, these 2 weekends, this week, everybody is here. So it's a good place to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be a blast. So tell us about all the new drops that you have coming out, Evolution and Revolution.
Well, Evolution, obviously the artist album, you know, came out. We just released the Revolution, which is the remix album. I'm working on the next Politics of Dancing #3. The special thing here is, like, unlike with the two previous ones, I'm not remixing existing tracks. It's basically all about co-writing, producing, basically completely new tracks. It's more like an artist album, and so it's a lot of work, but really exciting.
Nice. So where do you get your imagination, your ingenuity from?
Well, life in general, I think, is my biggest inspiration. So whatever I see or experience somehow ends up in my music.
How so? Can you give an example of that? That's interesting.
Well, one key thing I remember was when I visited India for the very first time. It's like I saw a kind of like poverty on one hand and this rich culture on the other. And it's like somehow it didn't fit together, and it kind of like confused me somewhat. And it ended up in multiple tracks actually. It's like there's a track called Like a Friend as an example that's like absolutely based on that experience. And there are many more things, like, you know, there's, you know, New York City as an example, which is very clearly inspired by New York.
Yeah.
You know, Lost in Berlin, inspired by Berlin. There's like many things. It's like they have like a direct impact on sort of like how I see things, how I feel things, and how they then turn into music.
So you're like the godfather of trance and EDM here. Where do you see the industry going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, the thing is, like, electronic music still to me is like the most progressive art form. It's like there's like so much fantastic music coming out every week, even every day. And it's about, you know, it's the responsibility of a DJ kind of to find the stuff that's innovative, that's interesting, and the stuff that kind of like brings the whole thing forward and actually brings something to the audience that we haven't heard 100 times before. That's where I see my responsibility as a radio presenter, as a DJ, and as a musician.
Definitely, definitely. So are there any up-and-coming DJs that you would love to do a collaboration with?
As I just said, it's like, you know, I'm working on this Politics of Dancing project, and there are a lot of people that I'm working with. It's like there's Martin de Jong, who's like has this very punchy style. Obviously, you know, I've been working with Artie before, who's like making a name, you know, of himself, and just like so many, Super 8 and Tab. Again, of course, Giuseppe Ottaviani, someone that I, you know, really like enjoy listening to. Is like a phenomenally creative artist, but also stuff that's sort of like outside of the loop, like Tim Mason as an example, and many more.
Definitely, definitely. So what was your longest, you think, playing continuously? And how'd you have the energy for that?
Actually, it's like it was a set that lasted for 11 hours.
Oh man.
It was like, you know, back in the famous club E-Work in Berlin. And I remember we did, the shows there were much longer than they are these days.
Yeah.
And our guest DJ, well, the flight got cancelled, so he couldn't come. So I started doing the opening, started the guest slot, and started my slot, and it just went on. Everybody enjoyed it so much, we just continued till very, very early or / late in the morning.
Definitely. So you've been all over the world. Are there any spots that you like particularly to perform at?
I kind of enjoy myself everywhere I go, really, because on one end I have a very clear idea about what I want to do, what the music is I like to bring across, and it's always down to the interaction with my audience. And of course, it is always very different. You know, I'm playing Ultra twice, but at the same time I know this weekend's going to be completely different from next weekend. And this is the challenge, this is what makes it so exciting, and this is why I enjoy myself wherever I go.
Nice, nice. At Soletron, we had a user, Travis from Boston, who won the contest to ask you a question. He was wondering, since you've been all over the world, where do you actually vacation when you're not?
Well, the thing is, I really like Berlin to kind of like just chill out, because that's the cool thing about Berlin. It's very inspiring. There's a lot going on, but at the same time, you have the possibility of just like very individually living your life and doing your thing. So Berlin is definitely a place where you should go, and that you should check out. And then I don't know, I just spent a few days in the Bahamas between my last show and today, and I'm definitely going to choose another destination for my next few days off. I didn't enjoy it too much.
Yeah. So for any up-and-coming DJs, what advice do you have for them if they're just starting their career right now?
They should really concentrate on what they think is right. They shouldn't look too much at what's already out there, because there are more than enough DJs who are playing the same stuff, who are producing the same thing. And if you look, it's like Artie as an example. He's a very good example. He did his thing, and because his thing was special and good, other colleagues picked it up and started to play it, and he made a name of himself purely because he'd done something that was different from what was existing already. So I think believing in yourself, doing your thing, will essentially lead to, your audience.
And finally, just to wrap up, I guess, how would you like to be remembered? When your career is all over, when you've had an awesome ride here, what do you think your legacy should be?
A friendly, funny, decent person.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. Is there anything that you can just give just the Soletron audience? Any shout-outs? Anything you want to say?
Well, thanks so much for all the support over all these years. I'm able to do what I love doing so much, and that's just because of you. Thanks.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.